Osmo, and with Osmo, you can play, learn, and create beyond the iPad screen. Get ready to learn all about Osmo. Before Osmo comes into our classroom, there are a couple rules that we need to go over in order to make sure Osmo doesn't get damaged. Here are some Osmo rules to keep in mind when using Osmo. Touch the iPad screen gently. Remember, the iPad does not have a case on it. Keep track of the pieces and take care of them. When working with a partner, take turns. When you're all done, put all of the pieces back into the case and be sure none are missing. When putting away the base, take the mirror off slowly and gently. We want to make sure we follow all of these simple Osmo rules so that this Osmo can last a long time and benefit students for years to come. Let's get started with some of the games. We are very fortunate to have 3 Osmo games to choose from. The first one is Tangram, where you work with shapes in order to make the figures on the screen. The second game is called Words, and in Words, there are pictures that come up on the screen, and you have to try and guess what the hidden word is by putting letter tiles in the playable area. The last game we have is called Numbers, and in Numbers, you're working with manipulating numbers in order to pop bubbles and collect fish on the screen. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a few minutes. This is the Osmo base, and this is where the iPad will sit when you're playing the Osmo games. If we open it up to see the inside, you will see how the Osmo base should be put away each and every day. There's a little outline so you know exactly which way to put the Osmo base back in its case. Remember, if we take care of our materials, they will last for a long time and be able to benefit many students to come. This is a photograph of Osmo with labels that tell you what each part is. The red part at the top is the mirror that clips on top of the iPad. Underneath the red plastic, there is a tiny little mirror that reflects the camera view down to the surface in front of the iPad to make a playable area that we will learn about next. There's also a red outline on the top of the Every Osmo app that shows you exactly how to line up the mirror so that the camera works just how Osmo wants it to. The white base at the bottom is the base that the iPad sits in. This can be adjusted for different size iPads, but we will always keep it the same in our classroom. Last but not least, Osmo must be set up on a hard surface, like a table or a desk, such as pictured here. This is the playable area that I was talking about earlier. The mirror on top of the iPad helps the camera angle to be reflected downward, making any Osmo piece that you put in the playable area seen by the camera. This is the only area that the iPad camera can see. For example, if you put an Osmo piece outside of one of the white lines, then the camera won't see it, so therefore it won't show up on the screen. But as long as the Osmo piece is placed inside this playable area, it can be perfectly seen by the iPad camera. Let's learn about the first game called Tangram. Osmo Tangram is a really fun Osmo game that involves arranging tangrams in order to make the figures that are on the iPad screen. When playing Tangram, there are 4 important tips to remember. The first one is, when you're playing Tangram, you arrange movable pieces to recreate the shapes on the screen. There are 4 different levels: easy, medium, hard, and harder. Take your pick. You can play alone or you can play with a friend. And if it's your first time playing, click on Introduction first. This is a newer feature that will walk you through exactly how to play Osmo Tangram. Let's have a look at the inside. Inside the box, you will find 7 Tangram pieces. 2 large triangles, a medium-sized triangle, 2 small triangles, a square, and a parallelogram. They are to be replaced in the box like this each and every time you use Osmo. Let's have a look at the screen. This is what the Tangram screen will look like. In the middle of the screen, you will see the big yellow button that says Play. Underneath of it, there's another yellow button that says Introduction. Click Introduction if this is your first time playing Tangram. If it's not your first time playing Tangram, then you can simply press Play. This is an example of an easy puzzle. You'll notice on the screen, all of the shapes are color-coded, and it tells you exactly where and how to arrange them. This is an example of a hard level. Notice how the shapes are not color-coded anymore. The figure is simply all black, and you have to figure out exactly where each shape goes. Tangram is a really fun game to play, especially when you're playing it with a friend. Let's move on to our next game called Words. The next Osmo game we'll learn about today is called Osmo Words. When playing words, you slide letter tiles into the playing area to try and guess the hidden word that goes along with the picture on the screen. For example, if the picture on the screen was a cat drinking a bowl of milk, then the hidden word could be cat, whisker, milk, bowl. You get the picture. This game is very similar to Hangman. You only get 10 wrong letters before you lose points. So make sure you make wise decisions about the letters you put in the playing area. There are 2 different options of play, versus and Zen. In versus, you play against a friend. One player gets the red letter tiles and the other player gets the blue letter tiles. You compete and try and earn the most points. In Zen, any number of players can play. On Zen, everyone works together to try and guess the hidden word. In the box, you will find 2 sets of letters, one red letter set and one blue letter set. These different colors can be used to distinguish teams when playing verses. When you are done playing words, please make sure all of the letters get back into the box with red on the top and blue on the bottom. The following photographs show some screenshots from actual gameplay. Enjoy! On to our final game that we'll learn about today, called Numbers. The final Osmo game we will learn about today is called Numbers. When playing Numbers, you slide number tiles into the playable area to create numbers in the light blue bubbles on the screen. By popping bubbles, you fill the bottom of the screen with water, release fish, and other surprises. There are 2 different kinds of tiles to use, dot tiles and number tiles. There are also many levels that move through 4 different areas of the on-screen ocean. These 4 areas go in consecutive order and start at the top with count, then add, then connect, and finally multiply at the bottom of the ocean. You can play alone, or you can play with a friend. Inside the Osmo Numbers box, you will find 2 sets of tiles. At the top, you will see there are dot tiles. At the bottom, you will see there are number tiles. When you are completely done playing the Osmo Numbers game, be sure to put the tiles back just like you found them, with the dot tiles on top and the number tiles on bottom. The following photographs are pictures from the Osmo Numbers game. You will see that you put numbers in the playing area in order to pop the blue bubbles at the top. Notice some of the other surprises that are at the top waiting to fall to the bottom. Enjoy!